Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going steampunk, pink, and gold. We've got some stickers, we've got some cogs, we've got some skeleton keys, some glass glitter, all kinds of cool stuff to put in this. So let's get started. So I'm using the small little mantle clock mold today, and I'm just mixed up some of Let's Resin's Fast Cure resin along with some Rolio Pearl White, just for that kind of sparkle in there. And this is going to be for the very first layer of the clock. Now, I've got a bunch of stuff that I want to do, so we're going to go a couple layers deep on here. So I kind of want this first layer to go a little bit fast so that I can get on and add the second layer, because that's where the majority of the detail is going to come into this clock. Hitting it with my heat gun real quick, and then we're going to let this cure. Well, not yet, we're not. First, we're going to do a lot more stuff, actually. I don't know where my brain is today. Sorry. Um we're going to go around all those little kind of divots that are in this clock mold for the details, and just make sure that there's no bubbles sticking in any there around all of our 90-degree angles, just around everything, just to make sure that we don't have any bubbles, because especially with this first layer, like, the last thing you want is one of those pieces that kind of protrudes out of the clock, there to be like a crater in there that you're gonna have to either deal with or fix. Nobody wants that. So I am kind of just making sure that there are no bubbles sticking anywhere. Hit it with my heat gun a couple of times just to be sure. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mixture of these cogs and the skeleton keys and some of my glass glitter in pink and gold. It's kind of like the cogs aren't pink, they're kind of like a rose gold kind of color, and then a little bit of the bronze ones just to tie in those keys so that the keys aren't the only bronze color in this piece. I just don't want it to kind of look off-putting. um and then in some open spots we're going to do some of the glass glitter. Now, I you have to remember, when you're doing this kind of stuff this way, you're working backwards. So some of the pieces I put in the big ones first, thinking I'm working, facing me, and I had to just switch them around. I am kind of flipping some of them over if I feel I need to make sure that there's no air bubbles trapped underneath, because that would be awful. And just kind of spreading them out, keeping them on the lower half of the clock for the most part. The reason is we're going to come back with some really cool kind of steampunky, vintagey type stickers that I want to add in to give this piece additional depth. Now, I am going with the glass glitter. Again, I'm trying to stay pretty much in the same areas as where all the cogs and the keys are. And this is just going to kind of fill in some of that empty void, give it a little bit more, just something to look at. My mind's going blank. Like, there's a word that I wanted to use and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of mix these glass glitter pieces around. They tend to stick, just like kind of float on the top, and I don't want them up here. So some of them I don't mind, because then that's going to give us a little bit more dimension if we have some closer to and some kind of farther back, and that's fine. But I don't want them all just floating. So I am just mixing them around, making the colors kind of spread out a little bit. Okay, so I'm interrupting myself. Look how clear this is. This is absolutely bubble free. I mixed that resin like a crazy person, and it was completely full of bubbles. Like, Let's Resin's resin is amazing. Even the fast cure. And that's what this was. Like, no bubbles whatsoever. Okay, back to the other me that was talking about what's going on now. Okay, so this is actually the next day. I kind of got sidetracked, and you know how it goes. Now, I want to add lights to this. So what I want to do is, I don't want the wire showing. So I decided that I'm going to get some of that tack it over glue, and I'm going to brush it along on the resin along the outer edge of the clock. Now, the reason I want to do that is because I'm going to, after this kind of, like, the majority of it dries and it's tacky, I'm gonna add some glitter powder to it. Now I know I could dust it and try and see if it would stick and whatever. This is actually like, it's not like chameleon powders or anything like that. It's glitter. It's just very, very fine holographic gold glitter. And I want to make sure that it sticks. I don't want it everywhere. I still have some other stuff to do. I I, I want it to stick. So I'm just gonna kind of paint this on. If it goes on the mold, that's fine. We're gonna do something with that later on. But I want it to be pretty much where it's at, just outlining the outside of that clock. Now, this is where my wires are predominantly going to go when I add my fairy lights. So this is just going to help hide it so it doesn't look a gross mess of just wires everywhere, and the light will still shine through. So it's not so opaque that I'm not going to be able to see the light, but at the same time, it's opaque enough that I won't have to worry about looking at those ugly wires. So we're just going to kind of go through, paint that on real quick, and then I have these stickers, and I've used them before in a video or two, and I really, really love them. They're just these pink gold, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous stickers of like clocks and cogs and butterflies and cages, like just all kinds of really pretty stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I went ahead and off camera, I selected all of the stickers that I'm going to use, and I went ahead and cut them out to shape. Like, it took me a hot minute to kind of do that. And I placed them face down on there so I know where I want them to be. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just taking some of the dishwasher Mod Podge. Now, there's no real reason why I'm using it other than it's smaller than my huge bottle of Mod Podge, and it was just easier to get to. So I am going and painting the front side of the sticker with the Mod Podge, and I am also going over it on the back, and this is just to glue these pieces in place so that I don't have to worry about them floating up, since I can't actually take the backing of the sticker off because it's not going to do me any good. Like, I can't stick it to it. This is going to make it so I don't have to worry about anything floating around or getting air bubbles trapped or anything like that. So I am going to glue each one of these pieces down, and I realize that I am pretty much covering the entirety of this clock with these stickers. And I know that. And I know that most of them you're not going to be able to see. However, there are spots in between where those cogs and the keys and the glass glitter are that you can see through. And you'll just be able to see bits and pieces of some of them down towards the bottom, but enough that it's giving it more depth. Like, they're not pow, stand up in your face kind of, here I am. It's a subtlety, right? But it's that subtlety that's going to give this clock way, way more dimension. And that's what I'm after. I want you to be able to look in there, and every time you see this clock, see something different because of the hidden pieces. Do you know what I mean? So after I let that dry, now I'm just taking my Light Wish UV resin and some fairy lights, and towards the bottom is where I'm going to start from the battery pack and then move my way to the front, so this way I don't have to worry about where my battery pack ends up laying out. And I am going along the outer rim of this clock the whole way with these lights, and I'm not worried about like it being the wires being super tight or anything like that. All I'm worried about is making sure that they're tacked down where I need it tacked down to hold the light in place, and that it is concealed by either that glitter that I put along the edge or the stickers that I have on. So I can kind of hide them, and after I go around the first time, I'm going to get the lights to go around that middle part of the clock where the face is going to go. But I'm going to kind of strategically place them on top of stickers so that you still won't be able to see that the wires at all. Now, when you look at it, it's a hot freaking mess in the back, but that's fine because we're going a white opaque background on here, so you're not going to see any of it. And then the other thing that I'm doing is, while I am going up along the edge of the clock, I'm trying not to have it so close to the edge to where it's going to show around the outside of the clock, if that makes sense. I don't want the wire shown at all. Now, I will be doing something that's going to kind of help hide those, but I just don't want it to the point that where I add, because it's going to have one more clear layer to go on first so that my lights don't get dimmed at all by the white resin. Hi, I'm back again, interrupting myself again. The other reason why I'm adding a clear layer first is because of the stickers. With it having that plastic background, I don't want to be able to see any edges that I may not have cut completely. So if I use the clear background, then that is going to completely get rid of that and we don't have to worry about it at all. And then we're going with the white resin on top of it. So there is a chance that these wires show through along the sides of the clock. I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to keep it away from the very edge so that I can hide them later on when I'm done doing this part. If you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. Trust me. Okay, so if you are wondering why I keep turning on the lights, it's just to kind of make sure that I have the lights spaced kind of evenly on each side and around the middle so it doesn't look off and stupid because it's uneven or whatever. All right, so this is how we're going to hide the wires from the side. I'm just taking that glitter and I am going along the side of my mold with it. Now, I realize that it is most likely not going to cover it 100%, but as long as it kind of covers where those wires are, I'm fine with it. It's the side of the clock. It'll be fine. All right, so now on to the clear layer that we're doing. And I'm just using a little bit of Let's Resin's regular epoxy resin for this. I very thin coat, right? It's just about kind of, it's like a 3-part thing. It's to make sure that all the wires that I didn't tack down with UV resin get stuck in there and they don't move or somehow pop through the white layer. It's also, like I said, to make sure that our lighting is great and I don't have any issues with that, although I really don't think that I will. But the third reason is mainly the main reason here, and that is to hide the plastic backing of those stickers to where I couldn't cut it all the way up against the image itself, just so that we don't have any hard lines or anything like that. With a white background directly on it, you may be able to see those, but with the clear layer kind of as a buffer, they should just kind of disappear into that, if that makes sense. Now, I am very carefully trying to maneuver this resin in between all of the wires and along, all of the edges and stuff like that, just to get it in there without disrupting that gold either on the bottom or on the sides that I just added. Hitting it with a heat gun really, really well just to thin it out just a little bit more. Pop any bubbles that I may have introduced or that have been introduced because of the just the wiring in there and kind of getting stuck. And then for more dimension around pretty much any area that I can see holes where the stickers are, I'm going to add just a tiny bit more of this glass glitter. And again, this is just to add some more depth to this piece, right? Because we have our very first layer with the glass glitter, and then we have, how some of them kind of are on the bottom and some of them are up higher on that layer. And then we have our second layer. Well, we're on our second layer, but we have up higher than that, we have our stickers. And now we have this layer of resin with some more glass glitter, and then we're going to have our backing white to finish this piece off. And then just mixing these pieces around just to get the colors kind of maneuvered in, spread out a little bit, and making sure that they are in those areas where there is blank spaces between the stickers and the cogs and all of that. And that's pretty much it for this one. Then we're going to go and do our last layer, and for that, we are waiting a full 24 hours again, and we are using Let's Resin's white epoxy resin. You guys, I think it was my last video with the dominoes was the first time I used it. I love this stuff. I love not having to worry about, mixing color into it. Like it's great. It's great. They did actually recently get in contact with me and they have a blue epoxy resin coming out, which they are sending me. I should be getting it any day now. Actually, I should be getting it by tomorrow. So I'm super excited to try that. Brand new to the market, and I can't wait. So you'll be seeing that coming up here very, very shortly. Now, just topping this off, making sure that my battery pack is where I want it to be so that once this is cured, I can just pull it behind it. Okay, so 24 hours later, and here we are. It is time to demold this baby. And hopefully I did a good enough job hiding all of those wires that I don't have to worry about seeing them. And I really hope that it comes out the way that I have kind of in my head that it will. And if I ever hurry up, we will find out. Ugh. Oh my, it's not even a difficult mold. Just do it. All right, so you can already see from right here that that gold glitter did not cover the entirety of the side of it. And like I said, it's fine. It almost like has a faded look to it, which is kind of cool. Look at this. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I do. It's honestly, guys, the camera doesn't know justice. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece. There is so many layers, so many points of interest to look at. It's gorgeous. Now it's time to put the face piece on. And for that, they give you 3 little clips with each piece. One of the pieces where the clips go, there's 2 kind of on the side near the like 1 and 11 o'clock markers. Maybe a little bit down, maybe 10 and 2. And then there's a third one down at the 6 o'clock one, but it is actually underneath. You have to pull the cover of the battery off, and it's under there. And then you put your battery in, which don't ask me why. I went stupid for a minute. Like I couldn't get the battery in. Like I don't even know. I don't know. Put the backing on, and then I go to put the clock piece on, and I lose the one clip underneath the battery. So I had to take it all apart. Well, actually, it kind of fell off. And then at this point, when I pick it up, after I glue this battery pack on with the E6000, I lift it up to see and touch it, and the clock face falls out. And then I realized that I had dropped it. So you got to kind of make sure that they're in there pretty good so that, you don't have an issue like I had. And put it back together. And that's it. That's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you guys on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Clockwork hearts beat so precise under